So today we're going to be showing you how we will be pruning our 2-year-old Cabernet grapes here in the Arizona desert. That's up next. Hello everyone, this is Dwayne with Edge of Nowhere Farm, and we're coming to you here at the very beginning of February in 2023. If you guys have been following us along, you know that we have over 180 fruiting trees, vines, and shrubs here on this newly established farm, and one of the types of fruit we're growing are wine grapes. So the vines you see behind me here are our Cabernet grapes. Now these were planted just over 2 years ago, and you can see we're getting a tremendous amount of growth here already on these 2-year-old vines. Now last year we pruned these for the first time. I'm gonna go ahead and link the video here where we talked about how we prune in order to establish both a spur and cane pruned vine. The ones we're looking at today will be spur pruned. So you can see just how much growth we get out of these vines in a year. Now we're gonna be taking almost everything off of this vine in order to make sure we have 2 good cordons established and we start to get some spurs that we'll get some production off of here this year. Now, one of the advantages we have here in Arizona is the tremendous amount of growth that we get out of our trees. That's because that sunlight and long season allows these to break dormancy usually in March, and they're growing all the way into November. So a tremendous amount of growth, and more importantly, we actually had production off of these vines. We have 10 vines, so to already have 31 bottles worth of wine coming off of these young vines, I'm really looking forward to what we're gonna be having here over the next couple years. Now, to ensure that happens, we've got to get some pruning done in order to make sure we maximize production. So before we get started, a few things as far as equipment. I'm wearing cut gloves here. You can see that's to protect my hands. Another one would be glasses. I can tell you, especially with all these vines that are whipping around here, you still get hit in the face, so keeping those eyes protected is very important, especially with grapevines. As far as the pruning itself, I do like my Corona pruners. You'll see these here. They're bypass pruners, which is the only type I would use on any tree, but vines included. Also a set of loppers. These are actually my go-to for most of the pruning. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, and being able to really put a lot of leverage into each one of these cuts, even on some of the smaller branches, makes the task a lot easier. Now I have 2 different types of saws. I have a folding saw here. I use these for very specific applications when it comes to cutting larger branches, usually when it's close to a trunk and I need to be very precise. If I'm just taking off large material though, this is really my favorite way of taking off, well, just about anything, actually. So one of the first cuts that I need to make, last year when we were pruning these trees, we left a backup trunk. So I've got this guy here that we've basically been pruning off because the main trunk survived just fine. I had mentioned that my hand saw is perfect for these close-up applications where I don't want to nick trunks. Let's go ahead and take off this bonus trunk. That guy's gone. So the first thing we do is clear out everything so that I can start to see what my 2 cordons are gonna look like. Those are the branches that lay down on our 3-foot wire. And also I can start working on establishing spurs, which is where we're gonna have all of our new growth and production between the 3-foot and 6-foot level come this growing season. So I've removed all the growth from below. I'm also gonna be removing any of the growth that is pointing straight down. Now what I need to do is I need to start establishing my spurs, my growing spurs and my fruiting spurs. I have my cordons laid here down on my 3-foot wire, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for 1 to 2 up to 3 buds, so I have plenty of opportunity to grow new shoots, which is where all of my fruit production is going to be. So as I'm making these cuts, I'm focusing on at least the 2nd or 3rd bud from the cordon. So this will give you an idea of the completed spur prune on a 2-year-old vine. I have my cordons well established at this point. You can see not a lot of spur growth on this particular cordon, but that's okay. Typical spacing between each one of these spurs is about a hand width for me, so anywhere between 4 and 6 inches. This might be a little close, but at least for this year, with almost no production on this side, I still want some Cabernet grapes, so I did leave maybe an extra couple of spurs on this side to make sure that I'm actually going to get some production off of this young vine. But this one is done. Let's go ahead and take care of the next 4 that are here on this side. There you go. So that'll give you an idea of just how much material you'll be taking off of your grapevines each season. The general rule of thumb is about 90 to 95% of the growth from the prior year is removed in order for you to have nice strong growth and production. Now I really love the before and after of this side of our Cabernet grapes. You can see just how wild and crazy all of the vines were as we went into the dormant season, and then to turn around and see just how clean it looks once you have all of that material and that growth from the prior year removed. We talk about this a lot here on the farm. We love every season. It's amazing to see the beautiful green growth and production in the spring, but there's just something satisfying about seeing a newly pruned grapevine heading into spring. So that'll give you an idea of what we're doing this year to establish these 2-year-old Cabernet grapevines for production here in Arizona. You can see I have a lot of spurs that I've left on this particular vine. This was a very, very strong growing vine for us last year, and my guess is we'll get a solid amount of production out of this. What's amazing about the growth of these vines here in Arizona is anytime you have production, especially for your wine grapes, really you're looking at year 4 before you see nice heavy production. Last year, in its 2nd year, to have 31 bottles of wine, we're gonna be in the wine here very shortly. So just wanna thank you for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here on this newly established functioning farm. Grapevines and wine grapes is definitely one of them, but would love to see you on a regular basis. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those in the comment section down below. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That is a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with the link down below, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just wanna thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you.